What's up, everybody? Deus Ex Machina here, DEM Sports. Just got back from the beach, didn't make a video over the weekend because I was out of town. Did I miss anything? Did anything big happen in WVU sports while I was gone? Maybe this happened? I was at a bar on the boardwalk watching the whole thing. It was a good time. Way too much to drink. By the end of the game, my memory's a little fuzzy. I'm actually rewatching the game. I've been watching a little bit of it every night. Couldn't be happier that we got the win. But man, there were still some questionable things, right? Like, the quarterback changes. Honestly, being at the bar, watching one TV up on, behind the bar, no sound or anything. I honestly didn't even realize that we were rotating those quarterbacks in the second half. Like I said, I'd already been there for several hours drinking. And so, that probably had a lot to do with it as well. But yeah, it wasn't exactly a huge TV, and with no audio or anything, it was kind of hard to follow, more than just, West Virginia has the ball going that way and Pitt has the ball going that way. And, but yeah, rewatching it, we put Scotty Fox in to start the second half, and then Henderson came in. And so Rich Rodriguez was on the Pat McAfee show, and he was saying something about, it wasn't necessarily that Nico wasn't doing a good job. We just have certain plays for certain quarterbacks, and we wanted to run those plays and kind of change it up a little bit. Okay, don't run those plays anymore. They didn't work. You ended up almost giving the game away. Don't do that. Just find plays that Nico can run. Nico needs to be running this offense. They got to find a way to make this offense work with Nico, because those other two quarterbacks, I've seen enough of them. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that doesn't mean they can't be good. Scotty Fox could definitely be good. He had that one 50-yard bomb, which is really more of just a catch and run. But, I do think that Scotty Fox is the, future quarterback, but don't put him in now. Not in that situation anyway. Henderson, I don't know. Honestly, Henderson hasn't impressed me one bit from what I've seen of him. I honestly thought he was going to compete for the job, and so far I haven't seen him do anything. Yeah, he's got some speed and can run, but he cannot throw a pass to save his life. So they've got to find some way to make this offense work with Nico if they're going to have sustained success. Excuse me. That said, great win. Now I'm even more disappointed that we lost to Ohio, because, man, we could have been coming into conference play 3-0, and now here we are. It's, coming into, 2-1 out of non-con. But the season really starts next week against Kansas. We're like 14-point underdogs almost, 13.5. If I was a betting man, I would take West Virginia to cover 13.5 points all day long. I think our defense is good enough to keep us in every game this year. I don't see us getting blown out in any game, really. Our offense is just going to keep getting better, in my opinion. The more they play together, the more that offensive line gels together. I think we're just going to keep getting better and better. We found our replacement at running back in Ty Edwards. So now that we've got some kind of breath of life into this running game again, I think our offense is just going to continue to improve. And I think we're going to, we might, we're obviously going to lose some more games. We're not going undefeated the rest of the year. We're not finishing the season 11-1. But I don't think we're going to get blown out in any game this year. I think that they're all going to be close losses, or close wins even. I think every game that we play is really going to be decided by a touchdown or less for the most part. But that said, trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter. I've been running long a couple of times. Let's get into the conference standings. So what do we see here? The ACC 1-1 this week against Power 4. And again, I don't take into account conference games because, it'd just be another win, another loss. So this is just only non-conference games. This is probably honestly about the last week I can really do this, because next week I think it's almost all conference games across the board. So ACC went 1-1 against Power 4, with their one loss being to the mighty Mountaineers. 2-2 in their group of 6. That is not what they want to see. You don't want to lose twice to the group of 6. You have a 500. And then 3-0 FCS. So 6-3 overall, 5-2 versus lesser opponents. Big 12 coming in strong, 1-0 against Power 4. West Virginia with the one and only Power 4 win. I also did not include in this crap. Can somebody explain this to me? Why is Kansas State and Arizona playing a non-conference game against each other? All that does is guarantee another loss to the Big 12. I realize that these games were, scheduled years ago. They probably had this game on their book for, long before Arizona joined the Big 12. But if I'm Brett Yormark, you got to get these games off your schedules, because all that's doing is guaranteeing another loss to the Big 12. Now, it guarantees a win to the Big 12, but replace that with 2 group of 6 opponents, or even FCS opponents. Get both of those teams a win. That's dumb. That is dumb, in my opinion. I didn't include that in the Power 4 1-1. Otherwise it'd be 2-1. So I just put it down as 1-0 with West Virginia having the only Power 4 win. 4-0 against Group of 6, 3-0 against FCS, undefeated on the week, 8-0, and 7-0 against lesser opponents. The Big Ten coming up blank in the Power 4 wins. Both their Power 4 games did not go their favor, with Wisconsin falling to Alabama and Minnesota falling to California. That was ACC's one Power 4 win. Actually, I have more to talk about with that Alabama-Wisconsin game. We're going to go into that. It's going to be a little dim rant to wrap up the video. But let's wrap up the conference standings. Big Ten, 5-1 against Group of 6, 4-0 FCS, 9-3 overall in the week, 9-1 against lesser opponents. SEC, rivaling the Big 12. 8-0 on the week, 6-0 against lesser opponents, 2-0 against Power 4, 5-0 against Group of 6, 1-0 against FCS. I did not have time to set up the winners, losers. I'm just going to tell you the winners and losers. It's pretty easy who the winners are. Big 12 and the SEC are the big winners. Both went undefeated on the week. Loser, ACC. ACC's got to be the loser. You had Pitt coming in as, a touchdown favorite and losing. You had two of your teams lost to Group of 6 teams, and even in conference play, Clemson, you guys remember my second video I ever made, I said I thought Clemson was very overrated to start the season. Who's got 2 thumbs and looks like a genius right now? Clemson's not even ranked, couldn't beat Georgia Tech on Saturday. They're 1-2 on the season and looking like they were very overranked in the beginning of the season. And I'll put the Big Ten as holding steady, because even though they went 0-2 against Power 4 opponents, the 2 teams that lost were bad teams. I mean, Wisconsin might rival as one of the worst Power 4 teams out there. So nobody really expected Wisconsin to win. I think they were like 24-point underdogs or something. It was crazy. It was like one of the largest point spreads between 2 Power 4 teams in the last like 20 years or something like that. Big Ten, they still have the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State, and the number 2 team, Penn State. I'm going to put them as holding steady. Now, let's talk about something else here. So Alabama, they start with a blowout loss to, at the time, unranked Florida State. Then they come home and they beat the ever-loving crap out of ULM. Ooh. And then, like I said, they beat Wisconsin. They were like 24-point favorites or something like that. Wisconsin is one of the worst power teams out there. So, not an overly impressive schedule, record, whatever you want to call it so far. Let's look at our good buddies, the South Florida Bulls. They opened the season with a blowout win against, at the time, ranked Boise State. Supposedly, one of the best Group of 6 teams out there. Then they go on the road to, at the time, number 13 Florida. They beat them. And then they go on the road to number 5 Miami, who people were saying might be a legitimate national championship contender. Let's not make any bones about it. They got destroyed. They got blown out. But 2 ranked wins, all 3 games against ranked opponents, and they're 2-1. Now, let's pull up the college football power index here. And what I'm getting at here is, you remember back whenever the college football playoffs was talking about how they're going to start rewarding playing hard teams in your non-conference schedule, and they're going to really start taking strength of schedule into account and everything. Okay, well, I get that the rankings that are out right now, the AP and the coaches, are not associated with the college football playoff rankings. But do you really, where do you really think that the college football playoff rankings would rank these 2 teams? Because let's look at resume. Okay, so resume. Right now we have it sorted by strength of record. South Florida, right here, number 14. I wonder where Alabama is. Still scrolling. Oh, there they are. Number 38. That's strength of record. 14 to 38. Let's go over here to strength of schedule. Oh, we don't even have to scroll. South Florida, 6. Number 6, strength of schedule. Alabama, they're in here somewhere. Still scrolling. There they are. Number 50. Number 50. But yet, which of these 2 teams do you think are ranked in the top 25? Not even the top 20. Alabama's, I don't know. I honestly don't even know where they're ranked right now, but they're ranked somewhere pretty high. You go to the FPI, the actual FPI that ESPN made. This is ESPN, their FPI standings. Alabama, number 3. Number 3, Alabama. Here's Florida State finally, or not Florida State, South Florida, 54. I want someone to look me in the eye and with a straight face tell me that the FPI that ESPN created doesn't sway bias towards the SEC. You can't tell me that. I still don't understand why. I don't understand why we accept this as college football fans. That one of the biggest ranking systems out there is basically ran by the company that has a monopoly on the SEC and is doing everything they can to push the SEC to make them look better. Why doesn't Fox or somebody come out with their own, football power ranking system and sway it towards the Big 12 or, whatever conference that they, might have big time contracts with? I don't know. That pisses me off. Anyway, that'll pretty much wrap it up for this video. Like I said, I'm trying to keep them a little bit shorter. Looks like I'm going on 13 minutes. Like I said, really like the Mountaineers, so at least cover the spread this week. Don't know if they're going to win the game. Still need to see that offense gel together more, but I think it's coming together. I will, again, not get to watch the game live. I'm going to probably record it. I'm going to a concert this week. Slayer! Their only headlining show in North America is in Hershey, Pennsylvania for some reason, which is only about an hour from where I live. I don't know why they chose Hershey, Pennsylvania, but if Slayer's coming within an hour, I'm going to see them. So that's where I will be. No spoilers on the game because I will be DVRing it and watching it either whenever I get home or on Sunday morning when I wake up. But yeah, until then, let's go Mountaineers, and I will catch you guys in the next video.